see you guys in the dark.
Well, I thought by using a more popular, expensive dating site, the one you see on TV all the time, that I'd get a better class of person. Someone looking for a relationship versus a hookup. I was totally wrong. I met Keith right before Christmas. He broke his leg a month later. I, of course, helped take care of him and spent a lot of time with him. I had a nagging feeling that we weren't right for each other. He was very clingy and seemed a little bit off. I had a huge St. Patrick's party at home with about 50 friends, and he came. Since he was finally off crutches, he was meeting most of my friends and my family for the first time. He got so drunk, I had to put him to bed by 9 o'clock. I checked on him several times. The first time, he was puking on the floor without a bowl. The second time, I could smell poo in my room. I left very quickly. And the third time, he was passed out naked across my bed, and I had to cover him with a sheet, just in case someone went in there for some reason. He woke up at about 2:30 in the morning. He woke me up from the couch and wanted me to go in my room and sleep with him. It was gross. I told him no nicely and said that we would talk in the morning. He kept me awake until about 5:30, bothering me, crying, and trying to manipulate me into coming into the bedroom. Around 8:30 in the morning, I woke up and had to physically threaten him to get him to leave. He then proceeded to call me 70 times that day, with 15 voicemails, 20-something text messages. I ended up blocking him from Facebook and my cell phone. Took me a week to completely clean my room between the puke and all that nasty crap that was left on the rugs, wall, and the bed. He then started emailing me at home and at work. I then found his boxers and a towel of mine hidden away in my room 2 weeks later. It's been almost 2 months, and he's still trying to reach out. I had to be horribly mean in an email to him, report him to the dating site, and then report him to the local PD, because you just never know. I think that I'm pretty awesome, but I'm not that awesome. Hopefully this is the last time that I've heard from him. To top this off, this guy happens to be 40 years old. I met a guy on OkCupid. We hit it off pretty well. After we hung out a few times, he came over to my place with a bottle of wine and a movie. He wasn't supposed to stay that night, but he lived about 45 minutes away. It had snowed earlier, and I lived in a very rural area with a lot of hills and curves, so he decided that he was going to stay that night instead of driving home. This only irritated me, because he didn't really ask. He just decided that he was going to do this. The best part of the night was right before I went to bed. He was staying on the couch. He asked me if I should change my pad. I looked at him quizzically, and he said, "You need to change your pad before you go to bed. You could get TSS, toxic shock syndrome." He proceeded to argue with me for a solid 10 minutes about whether or not I should change my pad. His argument was that he was an EMT and has a sister, so he knows all about these things. My argument was that I had a vagina for 20 years. Needless to say, he went home the next morning, and I've neither talked or seen him since then. I got sick from the food that we ate at a restaurant. It did not agree with my stomach. On the freeway, on the way home, I just couldn't hold it in anymore. My date kindly and quickly pulled off the road on an off-ramp. I jumped out. It was desert terrain, no bushes in sight, and the cool night air, which only my date's car shielded me from the freeway. I had to relieve myself to end my intestinal torture. When I was done, there was no toilet paper. My date went to his trunk and retrieved one of his custom-tailored white French cuff suit shirts that was supposed to be dropped off at the cleaners the very next morning. He donated the shirt to my cause. We left the shirt by the side of the road. By the way, although totally embarrassed and humiliated, I got back into the car. Not only did my date handle this entire situation with compassion, although he still calls me Freeway to this day, he took me back to the restaurant, raised a little hell about the incident their food had just created. We not only continued to date, we married, and just celebrated 17 years in April. He still calls me Freeway, though. Here's where the trouble begins. About an hour into the movie, she goes to the bathroom. I check my watch and realize that she's been gone for over 10 minutes. No big deal. Maybe she got herself food, or she didn't feel well. She comes back about 15 minutes later and said that she bought water and felt a little sick. Hint number 4. I asked her multiple times if she was okay or wanted to leave. She said that I'm fine. My cousin was sick. Maybe I caught a bug from her. Cut about 45 minutes left into the movie. She starts to make faces as if she doesn't feel good at all. I asked again multiple times if she was okay. She insists that she is. I suggest that she goes to the bathroom in case she has to throw up. She tells me no. A minute later, she throws up all over the place. Covers the entire floor in front of her, and also 3 seats to the left all the way to the aisle. It was like a movie scene. I couldn't believe how much one could throw up. I'm shaken, obviously, so I climb up a row and go to get help from the theater workers. On the way out of the theater, I have to stop short as I round the corner. Why? Because there were 2 giant puddles in the hallway. Her bathroom trip was actually I'm gonna throw up on the floor, leave it, and return to my date like nothing has ever happened. After that day, I didn't call her back. I blocked her from any social media that I had, from my cell phone, and I didn't talk to her ever again. I had a guy come over. He was pretty attractive, so we had sex, and then went to sleep. I had to wake this kid up at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and be like, all right, I have to get ready for work. You need to leave now. So he started to get dressed. Couldn't find one of his socks. He accused me of stealing it. He searched through all of my drawers, dumped out my dirty clothes hamper looking for it. I ended up finding it weeks later in my sock drawer. I kind of think that he planted it there, but I'm not sure why he would do that. So he finally starts to leave, and his car got towed because he parked exactly where I told him not to. Looking back now, I would have told him tough shit, got him an Uber, and then went to work. But I took him to the car tow place so that he could get it back. And of course, he doesn't have his wallet with him, so I had to pay for it and sign for it because he doesn't have an ID on him. But the car tow place doesn't take cards, so he had to go find an ATM to get cash out. So he finally gets his car back. I'm already like 30 minutes late for work, and he goes, all right, I'll call you later. I just said, never talk to me ever again. He texted me a few hours later, said that he lost his stylus for his phone. I just blocked his number. I haven't heard from him since, thank God.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos, and become a stalker of the night. And I'll see you next time.